Hey guys, this is Dave Cottrell from Perfect Personal Training, and this is Your Progress is Our Passion, episode 13. On this episode, I'm going to be talking about karma and beliefs in general. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. So as I said in the intro, I'm going to be talking about karma and karma as a study of beliefs in general. A few weeks back on our Instagram page, I put out a poll. I'm absolutely loving the new poll option on there. It's letting me get so much great data, whether that might be whether you believe in karma or not, or whether you believe pineapple has a place on a pizza. More people believe that it doesn't than it does. Controversial. But I wanted specifically for episode 13 to talk about sort of karma and beliefs and almost kind of superstitions, because superstitions are beliefs in themselves, just sort of labelled slightly differently. Now, when we are talking about karma, one of the things that seriously interests me is whether karma exists or not is kind of irrelevant to the point I want to make. It's the question of what believing karma exists does to a person's actions. So, for example, someone who believes in karma's existence, who believes that what they do, they will reap what they sow, what they will do will come back around to either give them a helping hand or kick them in the arse. It's that situation where their actions, if a person is much more likely who believes in karma to actually do good actions because they've got this belief system in place. Similar, someone who doesn't believe in karma, well, they can actually, when they do something wrong to someone else, they wrong somebody else, then they can equally sort of disattach from that and just be like, oh, well, whatever, and not really think about the repercussions. And really, it's kind of the point I'm trying to make it with beliefs is it is not whether or not the belief is true. It's the effect that you get from this. A lot of people, I'm not going to pick on any particular religion because this isn't a way to kind of flame any particular one. But religious belief, for example, there are countless religions out there, and each one pretty much says that if their one is right, then all the others are wrong. However, the benefits of religion, many people achieve those benefits. The benefit of faith in general, people get benefits from that. They get increased happiness, they get a sense of belonging, a sense of being part of something bigger than themselves, and that, generally speaking, leads to actions. And again, this is all generalizations. It doesn't always. You've probably seen the meme that says some of the nicest people in this world are covered in tattoos, and some of the nastiest people in this world go to church on Sunday. We're not talking in absolutes here, but the actual benefits that someone gets from a belief. And it comes kind of back to things like labels, your beliefs about yourself, the labels that you place on yourself, and what results those beliefs have for you. So if you, this is one that I use with female trainers, as in clients quite a lot, is they go into a lift believing that they can't do it. And I like to kind of prove them wrong a little bit. But if I was to suddenly increment the weight up by something huge, the belief that they can't do it, whether their physical capabilities or not are there yet, is irrelevant. The belief itself will dictate the results they get. We will try in a different way. If you believe that you are terrible at languages and someone asks you to translate a passage and you maybe have a dictionary, or I know we've got Google Translate these days, so that one might be a little bit redundant, but if you believe that you are good at languages, you'll make a really good go at it and you'll try a lot harder. Whereas if you believe that you are bad at languages, you won't make that effort. And one that we talked about yesterday is, in a group that I've been with all this weekend, is the same is true with language. When if someone says, listening to this conversation and the people have, say, a thick accent, and you listen in, if someone was to say to you, oh, they're speaking in a foreign language, you'd listen in and you wouldn't hear any words that you know. Or you might pick up on one that goes, oh, that sounds a little bit like a word from my language. But if someone was to say, these people have got thick accents, but they are speaking English, your brain would subconsciously work a little bit harder to pick out the words and to make sense of the sentence. It's very similar with a friend of mine. Until I figured out what his accent was specifically, I struggled to understand fully what he was saying, because I was listening for a particular accent. because I personally believed his heritage to be from a different area than it was. And then as soon as I realised, actually, that's a French accent there, every word that he said became clear. And because my brain was going into that belief and therefore processing the accent in a different way, it has parameters that are set to deconstruct a French accent, for example, things that we know, stereotypically speaking, a French accent might do with the English accent. So these beliefs all completely and utterly lead towards whether or not that we actually get the result we want. So let's look at superstitions, hence the episode 13 thing. If you believe that Friday the 13th is an unlucky day, you will go out and everything bad that happens to you on that day, you will count as being unlucky because it's Friday the 13th. When I was a kid, I once stepped outside of my house in Anfield in Liverpool and found on a Friday the 13th, and I found a £5 note on the doorstep. And I was like, there was no one else around on the street. Asked me mum if it was hers. If I had have asked my brother if it was his, he'd have said yes, regardless of whether it was or not. Sorry, like. But it wasn't, it wasn't anybody else's. So my mum was like, well, it's not, I didn't lose it, so you can have it. And I was like, oh, that's really lucky. And subconsciously, I kind of started thinking, well, what happens if Friday the 13th is lucky? It's a lucky day for me. The following year, I actually won a raffle on that year, and I won a fruit cake. Now, you can, depending on your love or dislike of fruitcake, you might decide whether that's lucky or unlucky. Because I thought of Friday the 13th as being a lucky day, I started looking for the reasons that were lucky in that day. We generally look for the evidence to back up our belief, and we find it. So if you believe the world to be, on the whole, a wonderful place, you will see wonderful things in every single day, and they will have more of an impact on you than the negativity around there. If you think of the world as being a bad and corrupt place, you will find those things in every single day, and it will reinforce your belief. And the question I want to put out there, now when I put the You Are Enough video up, and in that video I said it's okay to change direction, to change your mind, to change beliefs, I got a little bit of kind of backlash on that. People don't like the idea of changing beliefs. Which I find very ironic in a religious sense again, because ideally they don't want to change. As someone who's involved in a religion, they don't want to change their own beliefs, but they do want to change the beliefs of everybody else. So it's like, it is okay to change beliefs, otherwise you wouldn't be able to convert anyone to your religion. Again, not singling out any religion at all here. This isn't what that's about, but I understand I'll probably get a bit of backlash from that. But whatever you tend to believe, you will find the things to reinforce that belief, but it's okay to change them. If a belief you find isn't serving you. So say, for example, you believe you're bad at maths, and that belief, if you get put into a situation where you need to use maths, what will happen is you'll start clamming up, and the parts of your brain that are responsible for the bits of maths that you can do, the blood won't be getting there, it won't be responding correctly, and you'll just perform badly. It will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. That belief's probably not serving you. You could choose that. You could choose to change that belief to, I'm getting better at maths. Or maybe even if you just change it slightly to saying maths. In fact, you know what? Katie, one of my clients, she's got an expression that she uses when I usually make her go on the assault bike, which she says, that's my worst favourite. So if you were to even say that maths is my worst favourite, it's still a favourite, but it's your worst favourite. The fact that it's got a favourite in there, it makes you a little bit more inclined to actually do it. So the question is my belief serving me? And a real prime one, I'm going to finish on this one, the real prime one that I see a lot of when people are on a weight loss journey is they believe themselves to be fat. Now, we've all heard the meme of, you're not fat, you have fat, you also have fingernails, you are also not fingernails. We aren't fat, nobody is fat, but when we believe that we are fat, we do what we expect a person to be carrying extra weight to do. We don't go to the gym, we don't exercise, we eat more, we have that lower level of willpower, we just go, oh, I'm fat anyway, so what difference does it make? If we can change that belief, if we can change that understanding of yourself to, I'm on a weight loss journey, or I'm working towards being thinner, or I am putting my health first. If that's the belief that you have, rather than looking in the mirror at yourself and saying, I'm fat, look in the mirror and say, I'm putting my health first. Or even just look in the mirror and say, I love you. When we have that belief, that change of belief, we start acting like someone who loves themselves. And I don't mean loves themselves in a he loves himself kind of way. That guy's so vain. I mean loving yourself as in taking care of yourself. If we believe we're on a journey, we act like someone who is on a journey. If we believe we are getting fitter, we act like someone who's getting fitter. You don't have to flip the script and look in the mirror and say, I'm thin, when you're not there yet. But choose a belief that is more useful, that is more powerful, that enables you, that doesn't slow you down, that allows you to do the things that you want to do, that encourages you to do the things that you want to do. I'm going to leave it there. This was episode 13. Episode 14, I can't remember who's on it. That's annoying. Well, last week, I believe you had Pam McVitie on episode 12. Episode 14, I think, might be Mike Ward. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you are, give us a review on iTunes. It would mean the world to me. If you're watching the video version of this, share it or comment on whichever version you're watching. Just help me make this grow, because it might be my own belief, but I believe I need you in order to get to where I want to be. So give me that help today, please. I love you all, and I will see you next time on the next episode of Your Progress is Our Passion. Ciao.